Hello, it's Lisa here from Kirkham Travel, and today I'm going to bring you our guide to Venice. It's one of our favourite cities and one that we know that lots of you have enjoyed visiting and maybe will do again, whether it's going to be part of a cruise itinerary or if you're going for a city break. So we wanted to share some of our top tips on visiting this beautiful city and getting the most of your time there. So the city is actually a series of islands and it's arranged into these different districts. And most of what you're actually going to want to see is on San Marco, the orange bit. The S-shaped canal going through the middle is the Grand Canal, and at some point you're probably going to travel on it because water travel is the way to get around Venice. So if you arrive on a ship, you're okay. If you arrive at an airport, the first thing you have to do is get there. And if budget allows, we would recommend getting out to the pier where these lovely water taxis will take you all the way into the centre of Venice, and you can arrive in style and be taken straight to your door. It's a really special way to start the trip. Even if you only do it one way, it's well worth it, especially if it's for a special occasion and your hotel might be able to help you to organise that. If you're not going to do that, you do need to make your way to somewhere called the Piazza Roma, which is the last place that traffic arrives into Venice. So you can do it on a bus or get a taxi from the airport, and that's where you will then get on the water. And if you don't get on a private water taxi like this one, you'll use what they call the vaporettos, the water buses. So towards the left-hand side of this picture, you can see some white boxes on the side of the canal with yellow stripes on. They are the water bus stops effectively, and just like any other city with a metro or public transport system, there is a map of where they go. So there's different lines and they take you all around the Grand Canal and out to the islands as well, which if you have the time is well worth doing. So they'll give you a different side of Venice and a much less hustle and bustle. So there's several islands that it will take you out to, but the two main ones that we'd recommend are Murano, which is renowned the world over for its beautiful glass, and all you have to do is wander through the streets here and you will find that there are open workshops where you can go in and watch people creating these amazing glass ornaments. You can buy them very reasonably as well, but fascinating to watch them at work. But beautiful little place in its own right. And you might also go out to Burano, which is very well known for its lace making, and again a quaint little version. It's still got canals, it's still very pretty. There's just much less people than on the mainland, because most of what you are going to want to see is in this San Marco region. So if you're approaching it from the water here, again you've got those water bus stops right in the front there. So if that's how you're coming in, you'll be able to get your Vaporetto. Now the important thing about these and any public transport in Italy is they're quite reasonable to use. You can get day passes. When you've bought your pass, you still need to validate every journey. So there's a little machine as you get on a bus or a train or a water bus, and you have to put your travel card into it and get it stamped for every single journey, because they do like fining people for not doing this. And if you don't understand signs, if they're in Italian, that's no excuse. Unfortunately, they do still like to land tourists with fines. So don't fall short of that. Validate your ticket every time you get on, wherever you are going. So what you can see on the front there in the middle of the picture is the Doge Palace, or the Palazzo Ducale. So from 1340, this is where the rulers of Venice have lived and wielded power from. Behind it there is the Campanile. So this is the bell tower of the Basilica San Marco, which is just behind us here on this picture. And these are all fantastic, very popular sites that you'll want to go and see. Maybe you'll want to see them from the outside. If you do want to go in, there are going to be queues, but the good news is you can get timed tickets for all of these things. So a good place to start is the Campanile. Now it looks very tall, but even better news, it's got a lift inside it. So we think the time ticket is €15 to go up the Campanile at a time of your choice, and then you will have fabulous views over the city like this one. So you can see all over St Mark's Square and round and about with a view over the Basilica. So this, again, extremely popular. You will always see people queuing because it is free to get in. But if you are short on time, for the small price of €3 from April to November, you can book yourself a time ticket. And right over on the left hand side, as you go up the side of the Basilica, there is a little entrance there where the timed tickets are scanned at a turnstile and you walk straight in. So that is well worth doing if you want to go and have a look. Most of it is free. There are some extras in there. I think you pay a little bit more to go in the Treasury and up to this balcony where you can actually again take some fabulous pictures and see the views over the city. So the Doge Palace itself is also somewhere that you can go into. Again, we'd highly recommend booking your time ticket, possibly with a tour if you want one, either with an actual guide who can show you around or an audio guide. So it's very grand in here. Obviously, palaces, the rulers of Venice have been there for many years, and you can see it's very grand. There's lots of gold, very ornate, really interesting to have a look at. And it's also the place where you will get to cross the Bridge of Sighs. So another huge point for tourists to come and take this photo. You can see all the gondolas want to go under it. When you're doing the tour of the palace, you actually get to go across it. Also on St Mark's Square is the historic Cafe Florian. Now, if you are going to come and stop for a drink or something to eat here, be prepared that it is going to cost you. So it's one of those things that you might want to do because you're in Venice and because it's an experience. Most of us will have heard about how extortionate it is. These lovely people entertaining you. You'll get an orchestra charge on your bill for the pleasure, as well as whatever you are consuming. So there are many reasonable places to eat and drink in Venice, and all you've got to do is just get off the beaten track a little bit. But if you want to do it for the experience, then Cafe Florian is definitely the one to do it at. One of the nicest things to do is just to have a potter through the back streets, over the little canals. A map isn't actually much use in Venice. What you do need is some time so that you can get yourself a little bit lost and still find your way where you are going. You'll see signs on the walls as you wander in that either point to San Marco, back to St Mark's Square, or to Rialto, because they are the two places that most people tend to be heading. So just follow them and enjoy getting lost in the back streets and the little things that you'll find round there. And right at the other side, if you do follow it through, is the Rialto Bridge. So again, another iconic site that people are coming to see. It's one of the places you can pick up a gondola ride if that's something that you're thinking of doing. You can see how many people are always about. This is something popular to do. It does have a fixed price, so during the day it should be €80 for a half-hour ride, and it's €120 at night. And it's good to pick one of the spots maybe that isn't quite so busy as outside the Doge Palace or right on the Rialto Bridge, because you might find yourself stuck in a gondola traffic jam for some of that time. Now, the other thing that is worth trying if you want a much cheaper gondola experience is something called a traghetto. So this is how the locals get around, and along the Grand Canal there's 7 of them. So rather than having to walk to a bridge or get on a vaporetto, these cross the Grand Canal at certain strategic points, and people pay €2 just to get in. So they've taken out the fancy fixtures and fittings so more people can get in at once. Everybody pays their €2 and they sail across whenever they feel like it, really. There doesn't seem to be much of a timetable, but you certainly get that feel of being on the canal and being on the water and doing something a bit authentic. So if time allows, or if you're doing a sail away from Venice, it really is something to behold at night as well. So a really pretty different view of the city if you can see it at night. I hope this has given you some good ideas for your trip to Venice. We're going to put all the details on our website as well, so that you can check out anything that you might want to know before you go at www.kirkhamtravel.com.